Hey, welcome. In this video, I am going to be sharing a very special art haul from my trip to Italy. I went to an incredible art festival. I met some really lovely artists. There were art brands, there was art being created, great food. It was just a truly wonderful experience. And from there, I got some amazing art supplies. This is just a fraction of them. I figured what would make most sense is to first start off with the supplies that I bought, then the supplies that were heavily discounted, and then the supplies that I got for free. So let's start off with Szmal. Probably no surprise to anyone because it's one of my absolute favorite watercolors. One of the things that I was most excited by, it's this. So this is the essential set, and I've made a video swatching out all the beautiful colors that come inside it, as well as creating art with it, and I'll leave it linked for you in case you are interested in it. It's hard to get a hold of, hence why I got this one despite the fact that I already have one. So this is like my backup, if you will. When I finish that one, I will start using this one because I just love so many of the colors that are in here, and it's just so cost effective to get the sets as opposed to buying them individually. To make matters even better, Szmal and his son gave me an amazing discount of this. So I'd already put it in my bag. I was like, okay, cool, I'm going to get it, and then they gave it to me for like half price, which is wild. If you want to see the colors, so in the full video I go into more detail about the colors, the pigments, what I like about them, and so on and so forth. So I don't want to duplicate everything, but so that you can see the colors that actually come in the essential set, this is the swatch sheet that I create in that video on 100% cotton watercolor paper, and I just absolutely love it. Like, there's some colors that are stand out. For one, it has 3 of the new colors, which are nickel azure gold, quin magenta intense, and mineral pink. For that alone. But then if you look at it closer, you see like a few of our favorite gems, like Misty Morning is in here. Autumn Green is again one of my other favorites that I actually bought as an individual pan as well. Quin Red is here, Aquarius Green is here, Shadow Violet is here. So there are just so many beautiful colors. I just honestly couldn't help myself. Also, Cobalt Sea Blue is here. So I'm just highlighting some of them because I actually did end up buying some of them as like open stock pans, which are here. Reason being that I keep splitting up my pans, and then I go to open it and I'm like, oh, this color is missing and that color is missing. So I'm just trying to create curated sets as opposed to splitting up my sets over and over. So the ones that I got extra are here, Cobalt Sea Blue, which I absolutely love. This one I'm going to show you in a second because it's a super special color. Then I also got the Autumn Green that we have here, Quin Gold, and Nickel Azure Yellow. So beautiful colors as well, which I'll show you in a second. And then Pyrrole Rubin as well, which is here. So you're seeing like a pattern. This is a phthalo blue green shade, which is here. This is the magenta, so it's not the magenta intense, but I love both of them, so I got a magenta as well. And then I also got a cobalt turquoise. I'll swatch all of these out separately so that you can see them as well. But yeah, I really like the essential set, and I can tell you for free this is going to be a long video. So I'm gonna ask the MVP question at the beginning rather than at the end. Let me know that you're watching by telling me your most used art brand, whether it be watercolor, sketchbook, whatever it is. Which supply do you turn to time and time again? I always love hearing these things. But with no further ado, let's dive into all the art supplies that I actually got. The eagle-eyed amongst you will have seen is this. So technically I actually bought this before going to Bologna, before going to Italy. I bought one in every color, so they come in gold, pink, peach and blue, and I bought 3 that were empty and 1 that had colors picked out for urban sketching. In honesty, I just wanted the empty palette. But now I'm hearing some really great feedback about the ones with the 8 half pans, so I'm going to try them out and see what I think of it. But I just thought that this was just so cute, and so I took it with me to Bologna. But I also made myself a cute little Italy inspired palette, and these are the colors that I put inside. This is the art toolkit, which was an unrelated gift from Art Toolkit from months ago. But then obviously winter happened, I didn't paint outside and I didn't use it. So I decided to create my own Italian inspired palette and take it with me to Bologna. And that's why I'm sharing it with you here. If you want to see, I actually created a video highlighting not only how you can create your own studio palette, but also how you can use my formula to create palettes that are suited to your trips abroad or wherever you're going. So I'll be sure to link that video for you. But yeah, I thought that I would highlight it here because it was one of the main palettes I took to Italy. This was the other one. And I mean, I am impressed. It's nice, it's thin. I thought I would run out of paint. I did not run out of paint. I made some dents, which is quite satisfying, you know, to be like, oh yes, I'm actually using up my supplies. If you know, you know. But I did not finish it, which is great because that was what I was worried about, which is why I brought extra spare paints with me. Anyway, I talk more about that in that video. We have a few extra gems. I was not planning on getting brushes. I feel like every time I make videos I tell you that I'm not interested in brushes, and yet it's me getting brushes. So maybe I'm more interested in brushes than I actually realized. But with these ones, I was basically using this one to do some swatches of the Roman Szmal colors because they just had like a few samples out there, and I was enjoying it so much. I was like, oh my gosh, what brush is this? And it's the Roman Szmal large quill brush. So it is number 115. And I ended up getting it in large, extra large and small, I want to say. And there's a medium, but I kind of felt like the difference in size wasn't that great between the small and the large. So I figured that this would be, you know, the set of 3 would be a good way to get like a range of sizes. But yeah, I was really enjoying it. I like quill brushes as a whole because you can get like a really fine point, but then at the same time they hold a lot of water, and these ones are synthetic as well. And then I also got this while I was in Bologna. Everyone was doing like massive paintings, you know. And I was kind of like, oh, I kind of felt inspired to try creating bigger paintings as a whole. And I'd been looking for a Mottler brush. I don't actually think that this is what this is, but this was cheap, and it was, yeah, it was cheap. It was big. And so I was sold, and I got this as well. So let me show you some of the colors that I got from the Roman Szmals. The one that for me really stand out. I almost don't want to like use this. I almost want to keep them in pristine condition, but as we know, I'm trying to get over that and actually use my super precious beloved art supplies because they deserve to be used. But yeah, they look so nice. I have gently reactivated it, and as you can see, look at that, it has a lot of spring, which is good. So in terms of some of the colors that I got, that I will just very quickly show you. Some of them are duplicates. So for example, here I have Roman Szmal's Quin Gold Hue, which is one of the colors that I got. So this is the hue. I also got the new Nickel Azo Gold, which as you can see is even deeper. This is the Quin Gold, which has PO48. And as you can see, they are all quite similar, but they have slight beautiful nuances. Ultimately, it's a color that I like. So this one is the one that's going to be discontinued. This one is the brand new color. And you can see the quill is holding so much water. And then here we have Nickel Azo Yellow, which is essentially the PY150 that goes into all of these colors. I also got some really lovely pinks, aka the pinks and the reds that I use most often. Will be absolutely no surprise to most of you, but I'll swatch it anyway. So we have Quin Magenta here, which is just so beautiful, really vibrant, and one of my go-to colors. And then actually what I'm going to do is swatch Quin Magenta Intense here as well, because that's also beautiful, and just so that you can see them next to each other, because there are again subtle differences, so that you can pick your favorite or both. And then there's also Pyrrole Rubin, which I kind of highlighted to use, probably the one red that I have in my palette over and over in terms of the palettes that I select and make myself. And it's just a beautiful color. You can see the tip is getting, it's almost like we see the history of the colors that I'm using. It's getting stained, and I think it will stay stained. We'll see what color it lands on eventually. Let me actually swatch this one, because this, I don't know if we'd count it as a blue or a green. Let's just see the color. I was shocked. I think it's one of the new colors, and so I hadn't yet swatched it. And look at this. It's so beautiful, so pigmented, so lovely. As soon as I saw it, I gasped. I was like, wait, I haven't seen this color before. And yeah, it was one of the new ones. Absolutely stunning. This one has PB15, PG7 and PBK7, and it is one of the highlights for me. Really, really beautiful. In terms of other blues, I feel like the other blues that I got aren't anything like drastically exciting, but they are, you know, like they're staples. They're helpful colors to have. So I got a phthalo blue green shade. Here I'm just swatching out indigo. So it's not one of the new colors that I got, but just in case you were curious how it compares to indigo greenish, you can see that here. Both beautiful, but indigo greenish is very clearly green leaning, and a beautiful color. It really stands out. This is progressively getting less and less organized, but still we continue. The next color that I got was actually cobalt turquoise, and this is PB36, and I just think it's such a lovely, subtle, beautiful granulating color, so I got an extra one. I used it a little bit more than I used to because I added it to my winter palette, and that kind of got me to appreciate it even further. And I think that's one of the benefits sometimes of just making, you know, your own kind of curated palettes, that it means you get to think outside the box and use colors that perhaps you wouldn't have used as much otherwise. And then the other blue that I got is this little one here that I realized I quite like in skies, and that's cobalt sea blue, which is lovely. Another color that I got, and this one was extra special because it's one of my favorite colors, and I've just been carrying it from palette to palette to palette to palette because I just think it's absolutely stunning, and that is November 2024. Now, by the nature of the name, you will know that it's one of the limited edition colors that has been sold out for ages, I guess. And because it's limited edition, you just can't find it, it can't come back. So when I saw Rem and Szmal at the event, I like whispered to his son, I was like, oh, do you have any November 2024 left? And they had one more which they gave to me for free, which I honestly, I was like, no, I'm happy to buy. And they're like, no, don't worry. But yeah, like, so I've got a November 2024, and that is what I'm swatching here. It's just such a beautiful purple leaning grey deep color. It's wonderful, hence why I've been carrying it from palette to palette to palette. Another color that I really love, and thus I also took the opportunity to get an extra one of, is autumn green. This is one of those colors that just granulates magically. True to its name, it's got like a beautiful strong autumn feel to it, but it is a color that, you know, obviously you can use at any time, and it's one of those greens that I've described that just does all the work for you. Aquarius green is like another one that comes to mind. This one has PG26, PY150 and PR112. And then I got a color that, again, I didn't realize was new, but I saw it swatched and I was like, oh my gosh, I need it. I want it. You know, the color on the labels are hand swatched, so they are great to keep for reference. And I still have mine from my very first sets, and this is what I quite often use for reference. I do keep them safe. Let's see. So it has PB29, PBR11 that I'm not familiar with, and PY150. And let's get a good swatch. And this is like a very olivey looking color, but then as it dries, it also granulates. So again, another one to kind of keep an eye on as it changes. And these are the beautiful colors that I got, and I'm so happy to have them. And I think that actually together they make such a beautiful palette that I may add a few extras and have that be an individual palette of their own. You can see the tip is just gradually changing color. I anticipate that at the end it will just be like a dark tip, but it is beautiful. I got quite a few beautiful Daniel Smith watercolor sticks. They were €7, and for context, here usually it's like £12, so they were basically half price, or half the price that I would be able to get them here. And for those of you who don't know it, they're like condensed watercolor, so you can cut them up, add them to a watercolor pan, and they would just act like normal watercolors. So they're really pigmented, and just a great way to carry watercolor around and to, you know, to be able to buy watercolor in a more affordable way, especially if you're going to get the like Primatech colors, because essentially normally when you buy the watercolors as tubes or pans, they're different series. So the higher the series, the more expensive the watercolor is because of the pigments that are inside it. However, with the watercolor sticks, they're all the same price, whether you buy one that has cheaper pigments or more expensive pigments, whatever, all the same price. So it's a really great way to get the more expensive colors. Anyway, that's the long and short of it. So I got these for €7 each, and some of them actually for cheaper, because what I did end up getting as well was one of the sets of 5, the granulator set of 5, and that came at a great price as well. And in terms of using it, like I said, you can either just like wet the tip here, or you can cut it up and add it. But as you can see, it just reactivates very quickly. I know some people kind of use them like Neocolor 2s. I don't use them that way. I prefer to literally just use them like watercolor, which is what they are. Then next I also got Nickel Azo Yellow, which, as you can see, I tend to like quite a lot. And then we also have Quin Gold, and this Quin Gold also has P048, which some brands are discontinuing, and I think Daniel Smith said they have like 10 years worth left. So they, like, not officially to me, just in the past in a video they said they still have quite a lot of the P048 pigment. That being said, anytime that I have the opportunity to pick it up, I do, because I really like the colors, as you can see. I got Quin Violet, reactivates super quickly, and I see people doing this and drawing on it, and I guess, you know, do whatever floats your boat. I don't tend to prefer doing it that way. I don't like the feel of it, essentially, and it doesn't fully dissolve that way either. It's opera. So yeah, Fugitive, all that stuff, but I just use it so often. Quin Red, so this was a color that was suggested to me by Ashley Hawks. I'll leave her YouTube channel linked for you as well. We got to meet, and honestly, she was one of the highlights of the trip. I had such a good time hanging out with her, and she did not disappoint, because I was like, oh no, I don't want to get a red, like, you know, I don't use reds, and she was like, no, trust me, like, it's a really nice pink leaning red. And I was like, is it, because it says red? But no, she was right. She was right, it is beautiful. And then last but not least, on this row we have Piemontite Genuine, which is again one of those like you know, Primatech colors, so it's one of the more expensive one, but you get them, I'm just getting water and splatters everywhere, but you get them for the same price. So I got this for €7, like just over £5. I was like, I can't believe it. Instead of the, or rather £6, instead of the £12 something that we normally get it for. I really used it as an opportunity to get as many of the colors as I could. Then in terms of blues, again, one of the ones that is usually, I believe, a higher series, but it's a color that I use quite a lot, and so again, I thought it was a great opportunity to get another one for half price. Then lavender, a color that seems to be so popular. I'm still trying to figure out my way with it, but you know what, I've seen enough beautiful artwork created using lavender that I'm kind of like committed to trying. French ultramarine, just as a staple. I just always run out of ultramarine. I use it so often across so many palettes that it just makes sense to top up where possible. Phthalo turquoise, beautiful color. Part of me is like, oh my gosh, I need to speed up to show you everything from this haul. We're just on the stuff that I bought. We haven't even got to the stuff that I got gifted for free. That being said, I hope that it's helpful to actually see the colors swatched out and the rationale behind getting them and the little tips. This one here is So Delight Genuine. This is a beautiful, beautiful color. When we were doing the favorites palette with my members, I got every member to kind of suggest their favorite color, and with it we created our own curated palette. And quite a few people, Miss Ebony and Terry, has suggested So Delight Genuine, and they were like, trust us, you'll love it. And they were right. It's just such a beautiful kind of blue leaning grey color that granulates in a really nice way, makes really lovely mixes with other colors. So Moon Glow, I feel like, is just popular in general, and it's a color that I have like a small tube of it, but I've just been so oh wow. But as you can see, it is a beautiful granulating purple reddish leaning color. Then I also got Hematite Genuine. I'm not sure why. I feel like, I mean, it's a Primatite color, but I feel like I didn't like swatch it out or anything. But in my head, when I saw it, I was like, oh yeah, I should probably get that. Like, that would be a good color to get. So let's see. This one, maybe, I'm not sure about. It is like a really nice color for rocks. I just wonder if I'll use it. I think when I did my Daniel Smith video, quite a few people recommended it, and that's why it was on my mind, like on my list to get, even though it's quite different from the colors that I normally get. So we'll see how it goes. And then Lunar Black. So this, oh no, wait, I know why. This came in the set. This was one of the granulating colors, as was Lunar Black. So both of these colors are kind of like a little bit outside of what I would normally get, even though they were recommended, like Hematite was recommended in my Daniel Smith video where I swatched out all the colors that I got. It specifically came in the granulator set that had 5 sticks for 30 euros, 30 something euros. A bargain, basically. Cheaper than buying them individually. And that was already quite cheap at 7 euros. So these are the colors that I got, plus we have a few extra, the greens. So in terms of the greens, I got Serpentine Genuine, again from the granulator set. Keep an eye on it as it dries, as we are doing with the others here as well, but keep an eye on it. Gosh, this page, 0 regrets. These colors are stunning. And then I also got Sap Green, which is just a staple. I just use it so often. The Daniel Smith version for me is Sap Green. The Roman Szmal version for me is Hooker's Green, and they're just greens that I use over and over. And then I'll leave these here to dry. The other color that I got was Gouache. In honesty, I didn't have enough time to like fully, oh, that is nice. This is Prussian Blue Gouache. I didn't have enough time to like fully think about what gouache colors to get, and they also weren't out. Otherwise I would have probably been a bit more systematic. But as you know, I am on a continual quest of the perfect Prussian blue in gouache that doesn't crumble and crack and fall apart like my beloved Winsor & Newton one. So I took the opportunity to get a tube from there for a cheaper price. And these are the colors that I bought. But as I said, there's plenty of colors that I got for free. So I'm going to let these dry, turn the page, and we'll continue. The colors that I took with me, the Daniel Smith, and then the beautiful Roman Szmal watercolors. But I didn't stop there. Because I also got some Rosa Gallery watercolors. Now I bought the tin separate, and then I bought the 21 colors inside it separate. They were €1.50 each, which is wild. Such a good price, especially given that it's for the full pan. Now normally I like getting the tubes so that I can turn, like, you know, make my own half pans and kind of spread it out and everything. So usually getting the tubes are definitely more cost effective. That being said, the tubes, I feel like the tubes and the pans are different formulations. So the tubes take a really long time to dry. So I don't tend to take them, you know, urban sketching. And also the half pans were €1.50. So for that, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to make myself a cute little palette with the full pans and have it at that. The thing that I really enjoy about these is, like Roman Szmal, they really do reactivate quite easily. You would think that there's honey in them, but they don't have honey apparently. And then they also have quite a lot of movement in them. So like if I wet this page here first, it's color dependent, so we'll see. Sod's law, this will embarrass me, but you can see how quickly like that reactivates. Anyway, usually you drop, they have like a bit of movement, almost like core, not quite as much, but still more than other watercolors. So that makes them really fun to paint with as well. First color is Aza Yellow, PY151. This is Oriolin, which is PY150. So it's actually nickel Azo Yellow, but they've called it Oriolin. The real Oriolin is PY40, and it is not a large fast color, and it has been discontinued by most places, which is why I'm always wary of saying that I keep getting the Rosa Gallery Oriolin, because I don't want someone to actually go out and get that, whereas actually it is PY150. Then next we have Oriolin Green, which is PY150 and PG7. Following that, we have Opera. And some of these colors I actually... Oh, that's not the color I was expecting. Hold on. Let me clean my brush and try again. I suspect I got some yellow on there, and that's why it's so warm. So yeah, this is more like the Opera that we would expect. So some of these colors I actually have already in tube form. Some of them are new to me. This is Magenta Rose, which is PR122. Beautiful as well. Then this is Burgundy Red, PR177, which is one of the new colors that they have. Absolutely stunning. So again, I have it as a tube, but I thought, you know what, it would be a really nice addition to this palette. And then this color here is Coral. So it's PR4, PR2, and PW6. I don't think it's going to be a light fast color, but I don't know, I was very intrigued, and it looks very opaque. As I'm trying to lift it, you can see it's still quite opaque. Still a pretty coral color, as you would expect. So all the colors plus the tin came up to 53 euro, call it maybe like £48-ish, which I feel like is quite a good price for 21. Now I'm wondering, I feel like that's a pretty good price for 21 full pans and the tin. And the reason, usually I would leave the tin, I'm not like crazy for tins or anything, but you know how normally the tins, they just have the 2 rows and then a slender place in the middle. I loved that this has a thick bit in the middle where you can actually have 3 rolls instead of the usual 2. So that's the reason that I was like, okay, cool, I'm going to get it. So that color that I just swatched here is Mint, and that's PG7 and PW6. Then this color here is beautiful. It's one of the new ones. Green Quartz, PB29, PG26, and PY150. And it is a beautiful granulating color. I actually sent quite a few of the new colors to my members as Happy Meal, and Green Quartz was one of my favorites. I made sure to send that. Then next we have Azure Green. And you can just see how quickly and easily that is reactivating. This is PB15 and PG17. It's a new to me color, so we'll see how that goes, especially how it granulates. It's funny because the first time that I got Rosa Gallery colors, I didn't really get many greens. And when I swatched it out, I was like, oh no, I don't have greens. So I think this time I've gone the other way and I've got a good number of greens. This next color is Azure Blue. PG26, PB15-3 and PBK7, and this one was one that was recommended to me, and I can see why, because it is stunning. And I wonder if it's going to granulate, so I want to see what it's like when it's dry. Whoops, I touched the edge there. In trying to make it better, I made it worse. Hold on. So this here is Royal Blue, and Rosa Gallery actually named 2 colors Royal Blue. This is the one that is newest, which has the pigment PB1. I think they said 2-star light fastness, but in general, I don't think it's going to be the most light fast of colors, but it's a beautiful, deep, ultramarine-esque color. I'll see if it granulates. I can't actually remember. But anyway, this was the color that I didn't have and I couldn't get anywhere. And I suspect maybe it's because the names were the same that they delayed the launch a little bit. So you can imagine my joy and surprise when I went to Bologna and I saw that they were selling it there for €1.50. And so I couldn't resist. Ooh, this Azure Blue is looking really nice as well. Then next I got Turquoise, which is PB15, beautiful, and PG7. I'm really enjoying this palette. And I also got Cobalt Turquoise. I think what I'm really enjoying is how bright these colors are. And the Cobalt Turquoise has PB28 and PG36. You can see it's a completely different hue to the one by Szmal. This one looks more like a Cobalt Teal or the Cobalt Sea Blue. And then let's see. Next I got lavender. This lavender is looking very bluish. Not quite what I had in mind for lavender. Nice, but I feel like it looks completely different to the other lavender I had. This has PB29 and PV3 and PW6, and we'll see what it is like when it dries. But this looks very purple, or I guess darker maybe, the hue slightly darker than what I was expecting. Still pretty, maybe one that I would like watered down. Next we have violet, which is PV23, and look at that, super intense. I think that Rosa Gallery is excellent value for money, especially now. €1.50 for a full pan is unreal. I think they were doing €2.50 for the 10mm tubes. I know that it's obviously more expensive in shops and stuff, but still at the moment when you look at other watercolors, their price point is unrivaled, at least for now. That's why I'm making a point of mentioning the price, because there have been times where I've been like, oh, this price is fantastic, and then obviously years later the price has changed, but because I didn't mention it in the video, no one knows what fantastic price I am referring to, or what I mean when I say budget friendly. And I think the key thing is that this is artist quality watercolor at a really good price. Then, so that colour there is Royal Brown, PBR25. Kind of reminds me of the My Merry Blue Dragon's Blood. I think I prefer the My Merry Blue one, but still, it's a really lovely colour. This is Maroon Brown, which is PBR25 and PV23. That is nice. It's like a burgundy colour. Then I have Magenta Grey. This is PR122 and PG17. That's interesting. It's like a dusty rose. I wonder if it will granulate. It almost looks like the sister of Potter's Pink. I don't know if Rosa Gallery actually has a Potter's Pink, but that's what I would imagine it to be. Quite nice. Then Violet Black, again taking some paint. Oh, look at that. Not bad for a collection of paints, is it? Because of the pressure of time, and it was a busy event, and I didn't really have time to think through what colors I wanted, so I just picked it, not at random. I did look at swatches of what I had before so that I didn't just end up going home with the exact same set, but it was definitely very rushed and not as informed as I would have liked it to be. I think for all the paints that I ended up going, I basically went with gut instinct. This color is Indigo, which is PB15, PV19 and PBK7. So a beautiful indigo hue. It's always interesting to know, because with a little bit of knowledge about pigments, you can know that this actually has phthalo blue, it has a pinky violet color inside it, and then it has PBK7, which is a black, and mixing them together gives yield to this beautiful color. And these are the absolutely stunning Rosa Gallery colors that I got from Bologna. But that is not all that I have got. I got a sketchbook by Ashley Hawkes, and I will leave her YouTube channel linked, and she essentially made this absolutely stunning sketchbook by hand. It has Magnani 1404 300 GSM 100% cotton natural white watercolor paper. And she's obviously put a lot of care and attention into it. It's just unreal. I don't want to take it out of the plastic because I'm not ready to use it as of yet. I have a couple of sketchbooks to finish first, but I'm really looking forward to using it. And as you can see, it has like deckled edges. It's just stunning. She said she was inspired by the signature series Perfect Sketchbook by Etcher, which you know is one of my favorite sketchbooks. So I don't doubt that I will love this. It's 6 by 9 inches. It's 44 sheets. It has PU leather, and I believe it is now sold out. That being said, definitely be sure to check out her YouTube channel and her shop so that when she restocks, you're able to get your own. But yeah, I got this for €50 and I am really excited to use it. Some more brushes. Maybe I should just accept that I actually do like brushes. So this one is by Heren, 751. It's a synthetic round brush, and I got it because it is massive. Excuse the messy hand, but yeah, I got it because it is massive, and I kind of liked the detail. No wiggle, fair enough, it's new, but still I just liked the size. Basically, I feel like there are a lot of brushes that are quite small and kind of like size 6 or below, but there are a few brushes that are bigger. It almost goes from like a size 6, size 8 kind of round brush to the Tintoretto size 20, which I was tempted by, but then I had to like come to my senses and accept that actually I'm not painting that big in the studio, talk less when I'm traveling. So until I do, I can't justify buying such a big brush, even though it is beautiful. So this is the size that I was actually looking for, because it's kind of bigger than the ones that I have at the moment. That being said, it's not absolutely massive, so it's a usable size. Another random thing that I got I don't know, in honesty, I feel like in part I got this because Ashley also got it. But that being said, I was looking for tracing paper because I've been doing like a lot of jelly printing. It is Fabriano Paper, it's 55 GSM. It's just like drawing paper. I think it was like €2.50, something like that, from Montmartre. And it comes with 150 sheets. And because I've been doing so much jelly printing, collage work recently, and I've also tried to, you know, be more loose and more playful, I thought that this would be cute because, you know, you get lots of sheets, they're quite thin, should be great for jelly printing, and I can just like do quick sketches and then move on to the next one. Don't think it is going to be watercolor friendly, but it's not dreadful. Let's see. It doesn't go through. It's just going to wrinkle and warp like crazy. I don't recommend it for water. It doesn't go through, but you can see it's super wrinkly. But I think for like random doodles or even like random notes, why not? A little bit of ASMR for those who enjoy crinkling sounds. That's the feel of the paper once it's wet. When it's not wet, it's just like, you know, I can barely hear it, but then crinkle, crinkle. To see the highlights from the art festival in Bologna, as well as all the art supplies that I got for free, be sure to check out these videos next. Thanks for watching and God bless. Bye.